So Dudleytown, bit of a wash. I look over at Rising Vapor, who's in the Jason Jalopy next to me, and I'm like, dude, didn't she tell me to go to this town? And he's like, well, I mean, I heard of it. I didn't technically tell you to drive to here in this really slow car. And I'm like, okay, now we are going very slowly to I can't pronounce the state's name. I don't think I can, at least. We're going to Massachusetts. So Massachusetts is a couple states over, I think. It's still the East Coast. And we're going to a place called Leicester, or Leicester. I think it's Leicester. There's no H. So we're going to Leicester, and we're going to visit a place called the Friends Cemetery, or also known as the Quaker Cemetery, which I wrote in my notes is Quaker Cemetery, just to let you know the level of detail and precision I have with my notes. So the Quaker Cemetery, or it's most commonly known as the Spidergate Cemetery, aka the 8th gateway to hell. Not one of the official 7 gateways to hell, no. This is the 8th gateway to hell. This is the King Kong of gateways to hell. It was founded in 1740. That's my first note I have written down. The second note that I've written down, this website is fucking nuts. So that should let you know where we're going. I found a general information website on the history of Spidergate's place. The next website I found seemed to be where most people got their information about the Spidergate Cemetery. I'm going to read you some detail. So this website is proposing that these things are true about the Spidergate Cemetery. Number 1, Spidergate Cemetery is one of the most visited spots in the state. Let me tell you a little bit about the state of Massachusetts. Benjamin Franklin's birthplace. Martha's Vineyard. The Battle of Lexington. The place where the Revolutionary War started. The shot heard around the world. Also in Massachusetts. Cape Cod. Any of these places ring a bell? But this website purports that Spidergate Cemetery is one of the most visited places in the state. The Quakers apparently believed that this cemetery, their cemetery, was sacred, and it is where they did their incantations. What? I'm not too far up on my Quaker information, but this website makes them out to be borderline Satan worshippers, and at one point, actually, straight out, accuses them of building an altar to worship Satan. Now, like I said, my information on Quakers is fairly limited, but from what I understand, they are a breakaway denomination from Christianity. They're not like crazy hard workers like the Amish, but they're not like super lazy like every other Christian on the planet. They're like in between. But I don't think I would ever classify the Quaker oats guy in the box where I get my oatmeal as a Satan worshiper. But anyways, this website does. Story goes, in 1984, a young boy hung himself in the cemetery. The family of the boy goes, oh, that sucks. So we're going to give you gates for your cemetery. What? I mean, they say we're going to give you gates for your cemetery, and they're going to look like spider webs. Because the boy was Greek, and we are Greek as well, and the spider webs represent the story of Arachne, who weaved webs. Okay, so anyways, they have these gates that, if you squint really hard, they may look like spider webs. Other accounts say they actually are supposed to look like sunbeams. They kind of look like boobs with wrinkles, to me. But anyways, Spidergate Cemetery. Apparently, if you go through the gates at midnight, the devil appears and takes your soul. That would be a very easy thing to test. Just do it. Just walk through the gates at midnight and see what happens. There's also there's a bunch of dead grass where a house used to be, which is where the Satan-worshipping Quakers went. But the house is gone, but the grass is still dead. Can you laughing podcast host, explain that? Well, I mean, I'm not a soil expert, but I think if you build any stone structure on something and leave it there for a while, grass might have a hard time growing back there. There is a grave for a dude, real name, Earl Marmaduke. Even back in the day, that fool got picked on at school. Earl Marmaduke, his grave, if you walk around it 10 times at midnight and say, Marmaduke, talk to me, then put your head on his grave, he talks to you or moans or something. He makes some sort of noise. There's two things that I have a problem with that. One, if it's a ghost, like, I can walk into my bathroom and see, like, the ghost of, like, an old man hiding underneath my kitchen cabinet. I don't know why I have a kitchen cabinet in my bathroom, but you understand, like, ghosts are things that you walk through the forest, you see a ghost, you get in your car, you look in the rearview mirror, there's a ghost in your back seat. You're sleeping and you see your bedsheet start to rise and there's a ghost crawling through your bed, all that stuff. Why is it that some ghosts can just appear anywhere, but other ghosts need these ridiculous incantations and rituals to appear? It's never explained, and I see this stuff a lot, where they're like, if you do this ritual, if you hold up 3 thumbs, you have to borrow one from somebody else, light 2 matches, and then blow them out all at the same time at 4:44 a.m., a ghost appears, but then I could literally just, like, walk outside and see, like, a ghost jogger. Like, it doesn't make sense. I never get the incantation stuff. My second problem with it, is you walk around 10 times at midnight and say, Marmaduke, talk to me, and you put your head on the grave, and he says something to you. Who did that? Who was the first person to do that? Did someone walk around 8 times and go, I give up, nothing's happening, and then another guy walked around 9 times, and he's like, oh, man, this doesn't work. And then a guy walked around 10 times, but it was 3 p.m, and he's like, I mean, like, how did you get to that evolution of this stupid ritual? And you can actually go and see pictures of Earl Marmaduke's tomb. There's a bunch of grass worn out because people are walking around it. Does that mean that Quakers were also satanically murdering people on that grave? Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't show me a picture of dead grass and go saint worshipping, and then show me another picture of dead grass and go, just people are walking around a lot. You can't have it both ways. And then, this website ends with this quote. No joke, this is the last phrase on this page for Spidergate Cemetery. I love this. I'm going to read this whole quote without trying to laugh. The last legend surrounding the cemetery speaks of a hidden cave where the body of a young girl was found. You're like, Jason, that's not funny, but it gets funny. Okay. Most attempts to find this cave end in disappointment, as there really are no caves. At least not one's big enough to hide a body. How does... Someone's like, oh no, I know my body hiding caves, and that... Back to the quote. Furthermore, there is no proof that a girl was ever found. However, about a mile from the cemetery is a small cave, once used as a root cellar, where a 6-year-old boy was beaten and dumped into the river. This occurred in the early 1980s. Spidergate Cemetery is a good day trip to explore a few legends and get close with some nature and local spirits. What? I don't want to go there. You just told me that a little kid got beaten and dumped in the river in the 1980s. That's in my lifetime. I was watching Transformers. This kid's getting his brains beaten, and then the next sentence you tell me to go there for a fun trip? They don't even say if this guy ever got caught. They say a kid was beaten and dumped in the river, and it happened. If this guy's still alive. Not the boy, but I mean the killer. I don't want to go there. But the funny thing is that other people have. So there's another website where a guy's like, hey, I'm doing a day trip to Spidergate Cemetery. And it's so funny because this guy, he's like me, he seems. He's really into this stuff. But he got his information from a book called, like, Weird Massachusetts. And I am pretty sure the website that I was reading got their info from that book. Because what he was talking about on his journey is totally matches the book. He's like, yeah, I went to where the gates were and I looked for the hanging tree, but I didn't really see it. They said the tree that the boy was hung from was like an elm, but I only saw like a sycamore. He goes, I saw the place with the dead grass. I saw the Marmaduke. There's a picture of him by the Earl of there's a picture of him standing by Earl Marmaduke's grave. And so I think it matched up. He was reading the same story. The funniest thing is his story starts off being like, I couldn't find the place. It's super hard to find. He goes, I think I passed it a couple times. I had a really hard time finding it. But apparently this is one of the most visited places in the state of Massachusetts. This graveyard gets a 0 stars. I would not go to this graveyard if you paid me to. What a crock. What a waste. I was like reading this. Well, it wasn't a waste because it was highly entertaining, but to think that people think that this story has any validity whatsoever, it is almost 100% made up. I'm hoping the boy who got his head caved in is also made up. But none of it's true. Not other than the fact that there's a place called Spidergate Cemetery. So this place gets a big fat goose egg on a 1 to 10 scale. It is one of the most ridiculous fake hauntings I have ever covered on this show. And the people who wrote that description, they either have to start writing fiction or they should be ashamed of themselves, because there is no reason why people should be wasting gas or time or brain cells investigating Spidergate Cemetery. That was a clip from our daily podcast, Dead Rabbit Radio. Dead Rabbit Radio is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime news. If you want to hear the full episode that this clip came from, check the link below. Please like and subscribe. And hit that little bell, too. That does some magical stuff. Thanks, guys.